All right, let's get started. We had yeah, who wants to go first? Who played first this week?
Liam played first.
Do I have to?
You have to.
All right, yeah.
You've
that
got
was-
it.
You can make it quick and clean, but you have to.
I mean, because okay, like here's my thing. We lost, and in a way, I was kind of expecting to lose, but everything with the Jets this past week was a self-inflicted wound. The Zach Wilson turnovers, that's on him. The pass, the roughing the passer that took away a pick six, that really in the end was kind of the big momentum changer of the game. That's on John Franklin Myers. The third down defense being absolute garbage. And it's like, you could have the Patriots be 3rd and 14, 3rd and 9, and they're going to get it. Like, it's just like, okay, they're just going to get the first down. You just give it to them. Like, force a fucking punt for once in your goddamn life. Obviously, I had big questions right now around Zach Wilson. Some people are already calling for him to be, publicly executed. Take him out to MetLife at, before the game, just put him out to the 50-yard line. Done.
Damn.
I mean, yeah, there are those in the Jets community that want this. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, he's gonna get the rest of this season, barring injury, of course. And he's probably gonna get a chance to at least compete for the job next season. So, it's like you can bitch, moan, complain all you want. I mean, nothing's changing. And, I mean, nothing's changing on that front. Wilson himself has to change. But other than that, there really weren't many positives to come out of the game. I mean, the defense looks good, I guess.
Except for the third downs.
Except for the third downs shit. But, like, it's getting sacks on first and second down. It's just you're giving it back up on third. You almost had a pick six. I mean, honestly, if that pick six stands, we win that game. Because then I think at that point, Zach is not throwing. He's not playing hero ball. He's not, like, he'll be okay to throw it away. He needs to be okay to throw it away all the time, but, he's always looking to play that hero ball. And, he has the arm talent, but, the mental capabilities when things break down is just not there. And he needs it to be there. I think we made one trade that was minor. I think we traded Jacob Martin for like a fourth. I think we traded Jacob Martin in a fifth for a fourth. So, but that was like nothing. But yeah, going into this week, I don't expect to win against the Bills at all. If we keep it tight, if we keep it close, if we keep it within what's the line, 13 now? 10, something like that. Like, the line is something that's up there. And you know what? You keep it within that for most of the game, I'll be happy. But yeah, that's...
I will say you guys are also on an interesting week for the Bills because defensively... We've gotten a little thin, but at the same time, we're getting Tre'Davious White back. So it's kind of weird. Like, we might not have Milano, who's like our tackle leader. Right. And he's been having a great fucking season as a linebacker. We might be short him. We're probably going to be out both Poyer. Well, Poyer just got hurt again. Obviously Micah Hyde's going to be gone all season. He might actually retire at the end of it. He's kind of like up there in age. He still plays at a high level, but neck injuries are not something that they can get away with.
Poyer or Hyde?
I think Poyer, the Bills will end up cutting if he loses significant time. Like, we're not going to re-sign him if he loses like more time from an injury, which is going to suck for him, you know, because like he tried playing through like 2 or 3 injuries this season. One of them, which against in Kansas City, I don't know if you guys know this, but he had a punctured lung in the game before, which I think the Ravens game. Yeah, he had a punctured lung. He had a broken rib and a punctured lung. He got a call the day before the team was about to travel, like, hey, you're good to travel and play, but you can't get on a plane because the change in air pressure might fuck your lung.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. And then he drove all the way to Kansas City.
Yeah, they rented him like a bus, and they drove his ass all the way down there. So, like, I give that guy a lot of credit.
I guess I didn't realize it was for a lung issue. I guess I thought it was a concussion.
No, it was something with his lung. Like, they were like, dude, there's a 90% chance you'll have no problem, but that 10% chance is going to happen where you might suffocate and you're in the sky and no one can help
like
you.
So you're in a giant metal death tube. Like,
right. So we're out him again because I think he got an elbow or shoulder injury now. So our defense is going to look a little shady. So I mean, if your offense can just manage to score on our shaky defense, you guys will keep it tight. Like, honestly, if I were a betting man, I would take the Jets to cover the spread.
Yes. I think that's like, I think that's a safe play, because even if the Jets fall behind quickly, like, I think that the Bills are just they're gonna take the foot off the gas, and then
it's garbage time
points. And
who's your backup now?
Actually, good. That's a good point. I forgot.
I meant Puzz, actually.
Case Keenum.
Oh, okay.
The Jets Flacco is no longer the backup.
Yeah, he's like a coach now.
Yes. Mike White is now the official backup, which is good because I think they finally realized that the offense runs a lot better with mobility, and Flacco doesn't have that because he's old. And Mike White does have that. And, there are some that are still very much, bring out Mike White, bring out Mike White. That's not going to happen, unless there's an injury. But, it still exists. And we also, we almost, we elevated Streveler for a little bit, but then we made him not active. So we were this close. We were this close to greatness.
So close. Yet so far.
Yes. He's one that, honestly, if Zach Wilson were to go down, I would rather see Streveler, because at that point, you're not winning anything. Just have fun with it. Let loose. See what the big Canadian man can do.
Well, I don't think you guys are at a point where you just want to throw the whole season away. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No. The fact that we traded for James Robinson is proof of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing too is the Bills kind of showed that we were pretty weak on the run. But here's the thing about that, and not to take over the conversation, but my God, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on with the Bills? They're letting Jones just fucking rip them apart. And I'm like, yeah, because if the Bills played any other fucking team, they would pass because they're down by 17. So the Bills were playing back. They were playing too high safety. They were playing shell coverage because they're like, this team is down by 17. They can't run the ball every time against us.
And they have Aaron Rodgers. So.
Yeah, they're like, okay, sure. They can't run it because if they keep running it, yeah, they might get a touchdown, but it'll take them 8 minutes of game clock to get the touchdown. They can't fucking operate like that. So the Bills just let it happen. I mean, yeah, they could have played it better, but they didn't stack the box, because they were like, he's got to pass, and he fucking didn't. I think he did maybe 2 passes. Even Von Miller, I guess, said something after during the game to Aaron Rodgers, was like, bro, you gonna pass it at any other point? And yeah, there's a lot of shit, but our run game looks a little weak, and it's going to be definitely weak without Milano. So you might have something there. I think Ray Robinson, if he knows the playbook, he's easily capable of getting 100 yards against the Bills.
We'll see. Yeah, so that's my depression for the week. Now you guys. Well, one of you guys.
Brennan goes next because I had a Sunday night game.
Well, I honestly can say I'm not as depressed as Liam because this game went about as well, not as well as I thought it would go, but it went about what I expected, which was the Giants losing. Honestly, in like week 8 hindsight, this is the best team we've played all year.
Yeah. Which is crazy that we're talking about the Seahawks in this.
My prediction was that the Seahawks would play 4 quarters of football and the Giants offense would not be able to keep up. And that is indeed what happened. Geno Smith came out firing. He had the one, Lockett had the one drop, and then Geno goes over to the sideline. He's like, "Nah, dog, I got you. Like, don't sweat it. I'm going to come immediately right back to you, and we're going to score." And that's what happened. So they're operating with so much confidence right now. And, like, they feel like they're free. That's why this Seahawks team is, like, really intriguing. Because, and you guys heard Lockett in the post-game interview, right?
No.
So the post-game interviews are going on, and it's like Lockett and like 2 other guys getting interviewed, but Lockett's like off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been there. He's probably like the longest tenured Seahawk at this point, right?
At this point, yeah.
So like somebody asked the question about like I guess like, are you guys like surprised at your success? Like everybody had you guys pegged as like a one of the worst teams in the NFC. And Lockett leans over and grabs the mic, and he's like, it's amazing what can happen when you don't have somebody on the team who tries to take all the credit for themselves.
Ooh,
spicy.
And they the other 2 dudes up there like backed him up on it. So they're operating as a unit. They're now they're free of rust, and they have a really good shot to win this division.
Yeah.
So I give them all the credit in the world for defying expectations and showing how they can play. Geno Smith is low-key playing at like a near MVP level. If Seattle gets to the playoffs and like wins a playoff game, you could make serious consideration. Like he might not, beat out Allen or Mahomes, but he could get some votes. If he keeps up the level that he's playing at. As for the Giants end of it, the offense finally regressed, which was I think a couple of weeks overdue. Saquon had a good but not great game. Jones had a very pedestrian game. Didn't really get the runs that we were looking for against the Seahawks run defense, which, as we said leading into it, was one of the worst in the league. Didn't really take advantage of it. Had a lot of stalled drives, had a lot of punts, and then we were still managing to keep it close. We had a big turnover early on after Seattle scores their first touchdown, and we go for like a 20-yard drive and then have to punt it, and Gilliam pins them at the 2. And then on the first play of the drive, Geno tries to throw a wheel route to Lockett, and Adoree Jackson comes up and meets him at the point of the catch and just rips the ball out of his hands for a fumble. So we recover at the 2, and then a couple of plays later, Saquon punches it in. Tie game. We keep it close for like 2.5 quarters, and then that's where Richie James comes in.
Yeah.
So Richie James pulling his best Kyle Williams impression, muffs 2 critical punts,
Yeah,
in the second half.
was killer.
And that is pretty much the reason why we lost. Like, they had a chance to win that game. After the first muff punt, I was like, okay, they're gonna score off of this, and they did. And then it happens again, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, we just threw this game away. Like, we actually had a decent chance to pull some more fourth quarter bullshit. And I think it completely, like, demoralized the team. Because after that, our offense did absolutely nothing. So we lose, what was it, like 27-13. Every Giants fan on the planet wants Richie James left at the terminal. And they're like sending death threats to his family and shit, which ain't cool.
Yeah, some fans need to go outside and touch grass.
I mean, Richie James needs to catch the damn ball.
Yeah. But
I'm not excusing them, but Richie James needs to catch the damn ball. So he's probably, like, if it wasn't for the fact that our receiver core was absolutely decimated, which has now been slightly reinforced by the acquisition of Isaiah Hodgins from the waiver wire from Buffalo, and me and Buzz were talking about that before the show.
Yeah, he might be a good fit for you guys because
he knows Dable's offense.
Well, yeah. I mean, mostly it's because it's good to bring in a guy that's hungry. Like, Isaiah Hodgins has been behind Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, and he's been wanting to get an opportunity. He hasn't really gotten it, and the Bills even, to the Bills, both like credit and whatever, like they just overdraft certain positions. Like they drafted Isaiah Hodgins, I think 5th, like 2-3 years ago, 5th round. And the following years we picked up Gabe Davis. We've picked up another guy, what's his name? I think like Stevenson or something. And then we picked up obviously Khalil Shakir. So it's like this guy's just been doing nothing but trying to fight for a position, and he hasn't gotten one. He's going to go to a new team with a shitty receiver core. If he is any good, he's going to step up and be a big part of that offense. If not, then unfortunately he's just like one of those guys that just doesn't work out in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's hungry for a spot, so he's definitely going to play his ass off to try to get one.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens going for. I don't think anything's going to happen, like, in terms of, like, additions, but the rumor mill is still swirling that Odell wants to come back to New York.
yes.
But I don't put any stock in that whatsoever, and I don't want him back.
So I guess we could talk about that for a little bit. Like, okay, so I think the question is, what does Odell want? Is he looking for a big contract? Because I don't think he's going to get that.
He's definitely not going to get it with the Giants because we have no cap space.
Well, okay, so because I was listening to the radio when I was going out earlier, and they're talking about how if Odell's looking for a prove-it deal, the Giants would probably be the best destination for it because he comes in, he's instantly wide receiver 1. Like,
yeah, but like, what does he need to prove? Like, he's
that he still has it. Because I think right now everyone thinks that after he tore his ACL.
Yeah, he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl.
I think, and he's getting up there in age. I mean, as far as football skill positions go. So if he's looking for one more big cash influx, I don't think he's going to get that as a mid-season, wide receiver going to a Super Bowl contender. Because I mean, most of the Super Bowl contenders also don't have the money. But, I think the Giants they're the one team where it's like, he signs with them, he's immediately wide receiver 1. Like he would start getting probably, I think, more targets. And if he builds up his stats and shows that he still has it, well, then, once his prove it deal is over and he's a free agent,
he's gonna parlay it into going to a contender.
Exactly. Or at the very least parlay it into one more big, like,
Well, that's kind of the
cash
thing he
payday.
did for. He's just going to do the same thing the Rams did with them, which is get on a team that could win, do the best he can to help them win. The only downside is when he did that, he fucking blew out his ACL. So like it
And that was only
basically
because they made it to the Super Bowl. If the Rams don't make it to the Super Bowl, he doesn't tear his ACL. Like, let's be real.
true, but also if he doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, his value isn't as high.
And if he doesn't make it to the Super
True.
Bowl, then he doesn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
I think he might care about that more than anything.
yeah, and it's not like he he didn't put any work in for the Super Bowl. Like he helped get him there, and then during the Super Bowl, during that first quarter before he got hurt, he was doing pretty good. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think he might join like one of 7 different teams. Like no one knows who's going to actually sign
Giants
him.
are definitely one of them.
It's probably going to be more. I don't think Giants is going to be one of them. It depends on what he wants to do. Like if he just wants another ring, it's not going to be the Giants. If he wants to play and have, like starting capability and stability, Giants should be the one on his list.
The thing is, though, is that he has his ring, is the thing. So I don't think he's necessarily hunting for a ring anymore. I think he's...
I mean, he didn't get a chance to play it,
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, he technically does have a ring. He can say that he was a part of it.
That's true.
And, the fact that just he has that out of the way, like, I think he might be willing to take more of a risk.
Yeah, that's fair. And he probably could go back to the Giants because, I mean, it's a different coach, different regime, different GM. The fan base obviously might feel a little slighted, but honestly, I think at this point, they would love to have him back.
Granted, I mean, I'm a Jet fan, and so I think Brendan would be able to speak more onto this. I don't think that the Giants fans are necessarily as mad at Odell as like Jet fans are mad at Jamal Adams, because Jamal Adams forced his way out of New York. Odell, up until he was traded, I think he wanted to stay in New York. I mean,
he just wasn't worth the headache at that point. It was like having a scaled down, more sane version of Antonio Brown on my team.
So Juju Smith-Schuster.
Pretty much. And now Claypool. Like, ow. Fucking, my shit just like tightened up really all of a sudden when I adjusted in my chair. That hurt. So, lest we forget his weekly competition with the kicking net. Like,
one of the greatest NFL soap operas.
If he comes back, if I'm Joe Shane, I'm like, look, you pull anything closely resembling that shit, I put you on a Greyhound back to Los Angeles. Like, you got to be fucking clean cut and straight as a motherfucker if you're gonna play for us.
Yeah.
If it works out that way, if he's willing to take like a modest contract, because there's really not all that much we can offer him. If he comes back, it's not like I'm gonna boycott the fucking team, because I agree we need a wide receiver 1, and if that can unlock Jones's potential, I mean, it's gonna inflate his numbers because Odell might do 75% of the work, but it's kind of a proven deal for both sides then. Like, Odell proves that he still has what it takes to be a star in this league. And Daniel Jones proves that, hey, you give me a legitimate receiver and I can take you so much further than I would otherwise. So I think thinking about it now, it could probably mutually benefit both sides. But the jilted, like, stick of drama fan in me is kind of just like, I just don't want him here personally.
Yeah.
But if he was on the team, it's whatever, because it's not my decision. So that's the Giants Seahawks game.
Yeah. So I think we strayed a little bit. Now let's go into the Bills.
Yeah. I mean, most of what I will open up by saying I went to that game The first half was fine. Second half, man, it was boring as fuck.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of scoring going on, at least with the Bills. They kind of like really took their foot off the gas. Not entirely sure what that was. Allen threw 2 picks in the second half that were both really bad picks. And that's a little alarming. But it's also good to know that
he's human.
I mean, he lays a couple eggs every year. We know this about him. He has a couple rough games. You can't be literally perfect every game you play. And he was good. He had a great first half, you know? Like, it's not like he laid an egg the entire game. He got up early, made a couple mistakes. Defense was able to kind of bail him out. Didn't really matter. You know what I mean? So at least he got the shit out of his system. I think one ball he tried to throw away, like he tried to throw it at the ground, but the defender just fucking scooped that shit up. Like, really good heads up play for that one. The other one was kind of just a dumb, I don't know. He just kind of like lobbed one and floated it, and the guy just went up and grabbed it. Not entirely sure what that was, but hopefully this is one of few of Josh Allen's like C games. Because we're gonna need him, you know, to not do that kind of stuff against good teams. Like, that's rough, especially now that our defense might be a little shaky with the earlier mentioned missing pieces on defense. It's gonna be a little rough. But man, god damn, dude, Green Bay just looks like shit.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they were doing. I mean, Quay Walker got ejected in the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Shoving the coach.
Yeah, so like, as I was watching the game, I saw Cook run to the sideline, get knocked out of bounds, and then I saw with my own eyes like the late shove, and I saw the flag go flying. I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that? Like, that's gonna be an unsportsmanlike conduct. And then the guys came up to like call it. The microphones were a little weird, so I didn't hear it, but you know, I already knew what it was. They went up, they started placing the ball, the teams got in position, they were about to snap. Whistles blew, the guys talked again. Their microphone cut on, like randomly, for whatever reason. I think you guys saw it on the cast, right?
Yeah.
Or he's just like, yeah, he pushed the coach, right? Like, I don't know what that was, but I heard that come through the speaker, but I couldn't understand it. And then they made a call, but I still couldn't understand it because it was just like really all fucked up. Like, I think the audio got goofed in the stadium. And then the guy just ran into the tunnel, and I was like, what the fuck? I never really figured it out until I got home. That was wild. I don't know. What do you see? I guess in the post game, he was like saying that he felt like he got pushed. So he pushed back. But I watched it several times. I don't know how the fuck that guy thought he was being pushed.
I don't know.
He is the moment shit.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, looking ahead, we got the Jets at MetLife. I think the game's going to be closer than the spread suggests, but
yeah, but the spreads have been weird. Like, I feel like Vegas is just kind of winging it at this point.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, like, I think they're also having a hard time. I mean, injuries make it difficult, you know? Like, if the starting roster week 1 played and there was no injuries for both teams, they would know how both teams work. But when you have like some key pieces on defense for the Bills go missing, and then a few key pieces on the offense of the Jets go missing, all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, like, what is this gonna mean?
Yeah.
So I think the spread is gonna be it's gonna be an interesting game. I still think the Bills obviously are gonna win that though.
Yeah. I feel like the Jets defense is gonna give them a little bit of a scare early on, like, you know, like first quarter, maybe first half. You know, you're only going to get like maybe like it'll be like 10-3 or something Bills, where it's like, you know, okay, the Bills haven't pulled away. Why haven't they pulled away? And then, you know, in the second half, like, you know, you're going to make your halftime adjustments. We're going to make ours. And then the game's going to end probably something like 17-30 or something. Well, not 17-30, but, you know, like 21-30. Like the second half will just be wild.
I think a lot of it's going to come down, at least for the Bills on offense against your defense. I think a lot of it's going to come down to how soon Nyheim Hines can like get up to speed with the playbook. because as a pass catching back, he's also going to be responsible for third down pass protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just gonna be cool to see. I mean, we get to see both of our teams have new running backs.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a fun thing to kind of pay attention to.
I mean,
they saw Robinson last week.
Oh,
we
okay.
saw a little bit of Robinson last week. Also, we still have Michael Carter.
Yeah, that's true.
So that there's that to take into account. So it's
Meanwhile, the Giants' next opponent is a bye week. All right, that's my segment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I felt last week.
And then we have Houston and Detroit on the other end of it. I forget which order. Hold on. Week 10, we play Houston. Okay, so we play Houston, then we play Detroit. So 8-2. The 9-1 dream is dead, but the 8-2 dream is very much alive.
Yes.
Oh, you spiked that throw.
Yeah,
Damn.
so I don't really have much else to go over. You guys want
to? Let's do our picks, and then we can talk about a actually active trade deadline for once.
Yeah, it's true. It was pretty.
Let's go some crazy trades.
So, Brennan, you want to do the recap of how everybody did last week?
Absolutely, against my better judgment. So, Liam with another perfect week.
Yeah.
Full 6 points. He is in first place with 33. Huz with, I believe, a 4-point week is now solidly in second place with 29 points. And third place, missing my 3-pointer in the Bengals, resulting in a 3-point week for me. I am in last with 28 points.
What does Liam have?
33.
Ooh.
It is 33 to 29 to 28. So Liam with a perfect week and being in first place, lead it off.
All right. So last week, my strategy was pick teams I haven't picked. And it managed to work out really well. So while I haven't, I think at least one of these teams I've picked before. Maybe. I think I'm still tossing up my 3-pointer. But let's start with my 1-pointer, which I've already decided on. And I saw it, and I knew that I hadn't picked this team, and I went, this is the exact kind of type of game for a 1-pointer.
Fuck you up,
Yeah. I am picking the Oakland Raiders. That's sorry, not the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Raiders are a better team than the record suggests.
Agreed.
I think there's still a little bit of dysfunction in there, but not a whole lot. However, I think there's a lot more dysfunction in Jacksonville.
Liam, can I ask you a question real quick?
You may.
What was the score of the Vegas game last week?
I don't know.
You should probably look at it.
They got shut out, I believe. Right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Who are they playing? Arizona?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I don't care.
They lost to New Orleans,
24-0.
Oh, it was New Orleans.
Derek Carr had 101 passing yards.
I think that this is going to be a bounce back game for them. And
they put in Jared Stidham. Oh yeah. No.
All right, you know what? Hey, look, I haven't picked the Raiders, and I have a comfortable enough lead. They're a 1-point play for me.
Now you can experiment.
Exactly. I have some wiggle room, and I'm going to experiment, and I'm going to go with the Raiders as my 1-point play. As my 2-point play, this one I think is going to be a bit more safe, but I still haven't picked this team. I'm going with the Seahawks. I haven't picked them yet, and I'm, now I think they're sitting at 5-3. Gino seems like he's at the very least legit, or the the carriage hasn't turned into a pumpkin yet.
He hasn't written back yet.
Yep, and we've said it before, but I'll say it again. Modern Warfare 2 just released. Kyler is bound to be distracted.
Kyler was good last week.
Maybe it was the Well, actually, no. The multiplayer hadn't actually released until Friday night, so he actually had a chance to get a good amount of practice in. The multiplayer has been out for a week now, so he probably would have been on there a lot. Granted, Warzone isn't released, so it'll be interesting to see what happens after November 16th. Because I believe that's when Warzone releases. Warzone 2, I should say. But I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think that this is a good chance for Seattle to pull away with their division. Even though I think the Cardinals are, they're getting buried. But, the Seahawks, they could have, they could be 6-3 and, the Rams are slowly imploding before our eyes. Which really only leaves the 49ers, who I believe are on a bye this week. So they gain some ground or, extend the lead. So that's my 2-point play. My 3-pointer. Boy. This one's a bit tougher. I believe I'm going to go with, I picked them last week to win, and they did. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins against the Chicago Bears.
Whoa. Yeah, all right.
I commend the Bears for what they did against the Patriots. And what was the score of the last? Were the Bears off last week? No. What was
last week? Last week they. Oh, that's what, week 8 you're talking?
Yeah, that was the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, look, 29. It's the Cowboys. Like, they still put up a respectable number, but the Bears' defense, especially now that they got rid of Roquan Smith, who's probably their best defensive player, I think their defense is going to be sus. They added Claypool, so that should help their offense, but he's still got to get adjusted to the offense.
Yeah, they lost Quinn and Smith.
Right, I forgot about him. I think Miami. I think Miami just has the edge in terms of just overall talent, like overwhelmingly so. So yeah, I'll go with Miami 3-point, and yep, that's pretty much my week.
All right, Puzz, you're next.
Oh boy, gentlemen. Here we go. My 1-point pick. I know my 2 and my 3. My 1. Where is it? You know what? How many times have I picked Green Bay?
You picked them twice.
Twice.
Really? Okay, well, I'm definitely not going to get another chance to pick Green Bay the rest of this year.
Oh, boy.
I'll take Green Bay over Detroit. Green Bay obviously is a dumpster fire. They're in a 4-game slump right now, losing streak, I think. Or maybe even 5. They're a dumpster fire of a team, but I don't think they lose to the Detroit Lions. As much as I want the Lions to win this one, I don't think so.
The first team to get picked 3 times, and it's the Packers.
Yeah, I had a lot of faith in the Packers early on.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Every pick of the Packers up to this point has been a victory.
Yeah.
True. Fair enough. 2-point pick. I'm gonna go with Minnesota over Washington.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another road team. Funny how that shit works out all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Washington's not horrible. I mean, who did they beat like at the last minute last week?
Indy.
The fans' expectations?
I think it was the Colts.
I think it was the Colts. Yeah, it was the Colts.
Yeah, they beat the Colts with a last minute touchdown, like 17-16. That was fucking dope. I still think Minnesota's the stronger team though in this matchup, even though Minnesota's on the road. Minnesota doesn't get a lot of talk. Like, I think they're a pretty solid team.
They're sneaky good.
And they have
I
Hawk
started
now. They got Hawk.
They have Hawk. Freed from the shackles of Detroit.
Yeah, and it depends on how they use Hawkinson, because like originally Detroit used Hawkinson as a pass catcher, and then they just moved him into more of like a blocking back. I don't know. So it depends on what they're actually going to use him for. I'm going to imagine he's going to be a third down tight end, pass protection, shake a guy, and then just like, slip away for an easy catch, that kind of shit. It'll be fun to see if he's up to speed with the game plan, the playbook. And then I think it is time for the 3-point pick. How can you not take this one? I'm taking tomorrow's matchup, Philly against Houston. Easy pick. How many times have I picked Philly? Twice?
Perhaps too easy. This is your second time.
Yeah, dude, believe me, if I lose a 3-point game because Philly like walked into a trap game and lost, for the picks, I'd be a little upset, obviously, but I would also be really happy that Philadelphia finally got their first loss. I just don't think it's going to come at the hands of Houston, but then again, the Bills did lose pretty handedly to the Jags, last year?
Then again, the 11-0 Steelers lost to the Washington football team.
Oh, yeah, and it was all downhill after that, wasn't it?
Yep. I mean, if you listen to experts on the situation like Tree, they'll tell you that 11-0 was the mirage and not the truth.
Yeah, true. That's fair. Those are my picks. So, Brennan, why don't you wrap us up with yours?
Okay. I've had a solid 6 minutes to look these over while you guys were taking your picks.
And you still haven't come up with, anything.
No, I've come up with some things. I'm really not in a position to, go crazy like Liam is, make some outlandish things, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of spice in for my one, white boy spicy, because I do need to be solid. I need my other pick to be solid. All right, my 1-pointer. I'm taking Atlanta over the Chargers.
Mmm.
Something tells me that the Chargers are about to charger away another promising season. Atlanta's in first place. They've got something to play for now. Mariota's balling out. Let's be real. Mariota, I don't think is getting enough talk. He's kind of in the same camp as Gino. Mariota's proving that he can still play in this league. He's still a starting caliber quarterback. And he's got the Falcons at 4-4 in first, and Bregman just hit a bases clearing double.
Oh yeah, you're ahead of me. All right, but keep going.
So yeah, I think they're at home. The Chargers are they're kind of just there, They're not really blowing anything away. Hopefully the bye week gives them some R&R for my fantasy team. But I think Atlanta's riding a lot of momentum right now after that overtime win against Carolina. They're going to be playing meaningful games in November when they were expected to be completely out of it. Yeah, I think momentum is a bitch, and I think Atlanta has it right now. For my 2-pointer. How many times have I picked them? I've only picked them once. My 2-pointer is going to be the Monday night game. I'm going to take Baltimore.
Okay. Solid.
I think it kind of falls into the same thing. I think they're just a better team than New Orleans, despite the fact that it's in New Orleans. Lamar versus Taysom Hill is going to be an interesting matchup. We don't know. I still think we don't know who's playing between Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. But Lamar is pretty set, and I would expect the Ravens to win that game. And my 3-pointer, I gotta agree with Puzz. The Vikings just don't get talked about at all. Another road game, but I'm not afraid. I think Minnesota is like a top 4 team in this conference. They're going to win the North. And you can see them possibly going to the championship game. Like, if the championship game is Vikings-Eagles, wouldn't surprise me at all. So, yeah, give me the Vikings for 3.
Do it.
And those are my picks.
Yeah, this was a lot easier week than last week.
It's starting to get difficult, though, because we're starting to hit our limit on picks for a certain team.
That's
Yeah,
true.
The back half of the season is going to be pretty crazy.
That's part of my strategy right now, is why I'm picking some of these teams, like the Dolphins, who I hadn't picked, the Seahawks. Like
I picked the Seahawks last week. I'm picking the Falcons this week.
Yeah.
You want those games there when you think they're going to, like, although it could come back to bite you, because, like, what if you want to pick the Chiefs in week 17 and they're resting? If it's like an easy game, but they've already locked up the division, so they're resting, and you're like, oh, now it's not so good anymore. And then, like, you want to pivot, but you've already picked your pivot team 3 times. Interesting chess that can be played here.
Yeah.
And it's 5-0 Houston. All right, this game's over. So let's move on to our last topic of the night, which is the trade deadline.
Yes.
We had quite a number of interesting deals go out. Some duds, some we don't really care about, some that don't really have much impact in the grand scheme of things, but some star players did get moved. And we have a full list here.
Yes, I'm looking. I have that right in front of me as well. Looking at it, I mean, some of these, like the James Robinson one, we kind of already talked about, so that happened last week. I think probably the big one that affects one of us would be Hines to the Bills.
Yeah. I mean, I can really...
Bills fan, take it away.
I can easily just say that was a good trade. I would say probably a better trade for the Bills than the Colts, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you just have to like look at it from a different perspective. And this is kind of like what I started thinking about, especially reading a couple articles. The Bills fucking tried all off season to get somebody like Nyheim Hines, a pass catching back. We tried to sign J.D. McKissick from the Commanders. It was basically done. Then he said, fuck it, I'm staying in Washington. Whatever. Yeah. There were reports that we tried to even get Chase Edmonds from Miami, but Miami didn't want to trade him within the division. Fuck. All right. Well, we have our draft. James Cook kind of fills that role. Let's draft him. Well, he's still kind of a young, developing talent. You know, he's pretty good, but needs a little time to develop still. Fuck. So now they were in a position where like we can trade a running back, Zach Moss, who we thought was going to be the perfect complement to Devin Singletary. Turned out to be too similar to Devin Singletary in like usage, you know? But Devin Singletary just does everything better than Zach Moss did. That was the issue. We drafted poorly with Zach Moss. We thought we could get him to do goal line, you know, 3rd and 1 situation type stuff. He wasn't really the running back for that. Mentally, the Bills already moved on from Zach Moss. So getting pretty much the kind of player that we were looking for in the offseason while getting rid of a player that we were already mentally moving on from, easy fucking trade. So I'm happy about it. I mean, you guys have heard me a couple times talking about how Zach Moss is just kind of like a waste of space, and not even like saying that he's a bad player. It was just, for whatever reason, the Bills had 4 running backs that all, and 3 of them did the same shit. So that's my take on it. Good trade for the Bills. And Zach Moss might do well in for the Colts as like a complimentary back behind Zach Taylor, or not Zach Taylor. What the fuck's his name? Something Taylor, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
It's the back rushing attack, y'all.
My bad. You guys got rid of the Giants got rid of Kadarius Toney and picked up a wide receiver on the waiver.
Yeah,
We did.
You guys happy to get rid of Kadarius?
I'm happy to get rid of Kadarius. I mean, he was fucking dead weight on this roster. if he I think the rumor's still out on whether or not he actually faked his injury, because he gets to Kansas City, he's like, oh yeah, guys, I'm healthy, by the way. Like, nah, dude, nah, you did not just fucking do that shit. But he was asked about it, and like his attitude on the whole thing just like isn't great. Like, he was asked about like how it went down in New York, and he's like, I don't really care about that anymore. I'm a Chief now. So like, he's like moving on and like focusing on his present, which is fine, but he's kind of doing it in a dick way. So I don't really care. Like, we basically traded an inactive player for a 3rd and a 6th. So sure, fine with me. Other than that, though, the Giants did absolutely nothing at the deadline. We did no acquisitions in terms of trading. We did sign we picked up Hodgkins off of waivers, but that was late today. So until very recently, we had done absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that drew the outrage of some fans that are like, you know, this is your best season in half a decade. You're not going to trade for a receiver? You're just going to let the offense continue to starve? And Shane was on like a podcast recently, and he was like, look, I get it, but like, we only have so much to work with right now, and he'd rather build the draft capital. So I don't fault him, because you can't get swept up in having this good season and expecting it to continue in the future when you're in the middle of a rebuild.
Yeah.
Kay had a great comparison to it, and I was wondering to get your opinion on it, Liam. Bowles' first season. You guys go 10-6. You're 1 game off the playoffs. Like, things are looking great, but like that 2015 season or whatever,
It was an
like,
outlier.
It was an outlier, but like going into the season, you were not expecting to be that good.
Okay. So we weren't expecting to be that good, but we did have, I think, an idea in our head that we were at least going to be competitive, because we spent a lot and I mean a lot. We spent draft capital, we spent cap space to build up the roster with a lot of veterans. Now, obviously, a lot of it came down to, what was the quarterback, situation going to be? And, obviously, Gino kind of, sorted that out for us by not paying up $600. And Fitzpatrick comes in, takes over, wins us arguably a few games that Gino probably at the time would not have won for us. I think the difference there is that the 2015 Jets were a team built on aging veterans looking for one last ride. And another thing is that they also remained remarkably healthy, which you don't really see with teams that play out of MetLife. Marshall stayed healthy, Ivory stayed healthy, Decker stayed healthy, Fitzpatrick stayed healthy, Mangold was healthy. I mean, he's been healthy his whole career. Really right up until the end. And the defense, I mean, Revis stayed healthy, Cromartie stayed healthy. And that was also, I believe, the Sons of Anarchy. So you had Wilkerson, you had Sheldon Richardson, I think, what was it? Williamson, I think, was the other one. I forget. But that was a team that stayed remarkably healthy and caught some good breaks up until the end when they caught a bad one. I think with these Giants, you were kind of expecting another 4-13, 5-12 type season.
We played I'm pretty sure we played the win-win, loss-win game at the start of the year, and that's what we came up with.
Yeah. And so you are vastly overplaying your expectations compared to those 2015 Jets. Because I think that 2015 Jet team was expecting 7-9, 8-8, something around there.
Thing is,
they just wanted to be competitive.
We have plenty of time to throw this lead away. So we're in the easy part of the schedule right now. Our schedule is kind of like a mountain range where it starts off incredibly hard, then there's a valley in the middle, and that's where we are right now. And then the second mountain is going to start once the divisional games start.
Yeah,
because we are so backloaded with divisional games.
Yeah, you guys are. You have not played
we have played Dallas.
Yeah.
One time. We played Dallas again on Thanksgiving. Then we've got two in the Eagles and two in Washington. And Washington's starting to find their groove.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I think if you win your next two games, you would be 8-2. You've already outplayed your expectations by 3 wins, and you still have games in hand where it's if you outplay your expectations by 4 or 5 wins, you've had a great season. You make the playoffs or not. I mean, if you finish 500 or well, technically you can't finish 500 under the new system.
Yeah, but close enough.
But even if you finish, whether it's 1 game under or 1 game over, that's still way better than what you expected. It's the same with the Jets, where it's we weren't even really expecting to be anywhere near 500 going into the bye. The fact that we're going to enter our bye week over 500 no matter what is fantastic, because now we're theoretically hitting the easier part of our schedule, where we get to play the Lions, we get to play the Jaguars, we get to play the Bears. And even if we don't make the playoffs, if we finish 8-9, 9-8, somewhere around there, that's a successful season. And before the season, Jets fans have said that's a successful season. Now, if Zach Wilson looks like shit, suddenly the narrative changes, and it's we're a playoff team if not for our quarterback situation. But that's a whole other story that maybe we can talk about later on in the year. But yeah, okay, that one that went on a bit long. I don't know what
forgot
else.
we gotta switch it off. We gotta switch it off the primetime music.
Oh shit, that's been primetime music the whole time.
Hey, not the whole time, just during picks.
So we've talked about the Hines trade. We talked about the Tony trade.
I mean, there were a couple other pretty big blockbuster trades.
The Hawkinson one to me was like way out of left field.
Yeah, that one was little. I mean, honestly, there were a couple trades that made me mad because I'm like, God damn, like usually you'd be like, no, we don't want to like give this to a good team like in our conference or whatever, but like some teams are just saying fuck it.
Yeah.
Like the Hawkinson trade, like you were saying, in division, right?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's in division, and I think the Vikings got the better end of the deal. I think that they paid a decent price. They paid a price for Hawkinson, but they didn't drastically overpay because it was just a second and a third. And they still got 2 4th rounds back.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which is kind of crazy to me. Like,
so
but you got picked back.
The one trade that kind of like upset me, but I mean it made sense for Denver to do it was Bradley Chubb. Yeah, like god damn.
Yeah.
Like I'm not worried about Miami, and it's like Miami gets Bradley Chubb, and I'm like I am kind of worried about Miami.
Yeah, because
the defense was a weak point.
Yeah, the defensive line was a weak point in particular, and because I believe they only have 15 sacks on the whole year, which is like the lowest in the league, possibly.
Yeah, but Bradley Chubb's got like half of them.
Exactly. Well, now Bradley Chubb has like 7, so it's like like statistically, he just brings them up, and if he's going to average a sack or 2 a game, he elevates their defense, and elevating the defense to an already decent offense is only going to make Miami a bit scarier. So yeah, no, I'm as a fellow AFC East fan, I'm with you on that one. That was one where it was like, fuck. The only silver lining is, okay, at least Miami doesn't have a fucking 1st round pick this year now.
Yeah, because the other one got lost because of the tampering, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. That one, like I said, that one kind of pissed me off because it's in our division and it affects me, and you.
It affects me too. Yeah.
Crazy that they've now spent all 3 draft picks they got from Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's interesting.
On Tyreek, Waddle, and now the Chubb.
Steelers just giving Chase Claypool away for a second was surprising.
It's them performing a chemotherapy. They are killing the cancer that is still in their locker room.
That's true. It was funny too because like I saw a tweet that like Chase Claypool was the one who announced the pick for Pickens at the draft.
Yes, that is true. I saw that too.
Oh god. That one's just kind of whatever. The Jaguars picking up Ridley when he's not able to play this year is strange.
Doug Peterson says that is for the future.
I mean, obviously it has to be because what is he going to do for you now? Nothing.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, Zach Moss, Nyheim Hines, Jeff Wilson Jr. for a 5th round pick for Miami. Meh. Yeah, these are all older ones. Yeah, I mean that's about it. I mean, I think the biggest trade was, and it wasn't a deadline trade, was the McCaffrey trade. Like Jesus Christ, like San Fran is going to be like, hey, yo, dog, you guys want a 2059 1st round pick for that guy? And they're like, dude, get out of here. It's only 2027. They're giving away like so many future picks. It's crazy. Not for this pick, obviously, but they got rid of what a 2nd, 3rd, and a 4th this upcoming year for this.
Yeah.
It's like, good lord. Like, do you guys just want to not show up for the draft? Is that just your goal every year? Like,
yeah,
you know what? Fuck scouting.
Vacation. Yeah. Like, hey, guess what? We could save money by not having to pay a scouting department by not needing them.
Right? Part of the Roquan Smith trade too. Just interesting note. Linebacker AJ Klein, who played for the Bills like for the past 3 seasons, was a part of that trade. So he left the Bills and got a contract for the Ravens. The Ravens go 5-3 and we're doing all right. And then he gets dumped off in a trade. That's gotta suck. like you just sign it for a team, right? Like you talk it out like, hey, I think it's like, all right, we'll sign you. All right, you're gonna make the starting team. That's great, awesome. Welcome to the team. And then like not even 8 weeks later, be like, hey dog, we're shipping you off. I wonder where he was in the depth. He might not have been like, I don't know if he was like a starter or if he was like a second stringer. Anywho, that's about it for the trades. We pretty much discussed all of them.
McCaffrey?
Well, I mean, we mentioned it just now.
I mean, yeah.
I just said it was the biggest trade, and it wasn't a part of the deadline trades, but
No,
it was still the biggest.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got to say about it, Mr. Brendan?
I gotta say that I was zoned out, and that's why I missed that one.
McCaffrey had what, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown in the last game.
Yep,
the trifecta.
Oh man, I could have drafted him too. He's
like the first dude in 50 years to do that or something.
Maybe
not like 50. I think it was like 30.
And I could have drafted him. Oh well.
But he's the glass man.
I was gonna say you didn't want the glass man.
Yeah, and you know who I took instead of the glass man? Cam fucking Akers.
Yeah. That was one trade that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's most unfortunate. I was kind of like hoping that he would become a Bills running back. Because then I know he would get some touches because they give everybody fucking touches, which is annoying. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed when you watched that game on Sunday, it was just like one series was all Singletary. The next series was all Moss. The next series was all Singletary. It's like, it was super bizarre that they just didn't rotate them. They rotated them by like series or even quarter. Like this quarter is going to be Singletary. This quarter is going to be Moss. It's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. I don't really have anything else to say about the trades.
Yeah, I mean, I think just overall, as someone who expects the deadline to be kind of dead, it was kind of lively this year. And I liked it.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, last year was like, everyone's like, oh my God, this is a trade deadline. And then everyone's like, nothing ever fucking happens.
Like, the NFL needs to have the trade deadline be more like this. It needs to be more like how it is in the NHL and how it is in the in Major League Baseball, where there's actually, like, things to do. Like, there's things to look out for.
There's things to report.
Exactly. Like, you have teams that are going all in and they're actually, trading draft capital for it. It feels like over the past 5-7 years, it's like, you get to the trade deadline and it's like, okay, what's the biggest trade that your team did at the trade deadline? And for the Jets, it's like, yeah, 2016 or in like 2013 or something, we traded for Percy Harvin. Like, that's it. Like, that's all that you do. You don't get big trades like McCaffrey or Roquan or Chubb or, you don't get a surprise trade like TJ Hawkinson. Like, there's always like rumors, but then the rumors never amount to anything. And then, we're talking about these trades in 4 months or 5 months when the new league year starts up. So it was nice. I like this. The NFL should do this more often.
It is the year of chaos.
Should be more like this every year.
Yeah. So in keeping with that spirit, we had the trade deadline of some chaos.
Yeah, it was pretty controlled. Like there were the thing is, like, Christian McCaffrey, people were talking about a trade like for a while. Yeah. So when it actually landed, nobody was like really shocked. Everyone was just like, okay, what do they give up for it?
Oh, can we take a second and talk about the DJ Moore play?
Oh, not a Hail Mary, but the long.
Yes. Well, of course, in my infinite shilling, I have to say, what a fucking throw by PJ Walker. Interesting stat on that. Ever since they started tracking air yards, right? Think of all the Hail Marys that we've had over the years.
Rodgers,
Ever since,
yeah,
they started tracking like Hail Mary, like air yards like that, like PFF or whoever, in like 2006. PJ Walker's Hail Mary had the highest air yard travel distance of any Hail Mary, of any pass since 2006. He hit 67.6 yards in the air. XFL MVP, by the way. And it may be full circle because if for whatever reason he gets let go from the Panthers, because he only signed a 2-year deal and this is the second year of the deal, the Houston Roughnecks are technically back.
Now Indianapolis will bring him on board.
No, they got Ellinger now.
Yeah, didn't he have a really bad outing though?
I mean, for his first career start, he lost by a point. I don't know what his stat line was, but
it wasn't great.
All right,
at least going by his what his fantasy was like, because I was looking at quarterbacks to pick up because Jimmy G's off this week, and yeah, I ended up going with I picked up Heineke, so that's going to be interesting. But I was looking at him, and like I'm going by like what their stats are like if they're at least somewhat consistent. And in his first game, it was like 7 points. I was like, that's probably not good. That means it's like no touchdown. That's all yards, and not many yards. So, but yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to really add. I don't really have too much going on, and I know Brendan's got a bye week coming up, so he's kind of like,
And we're playing each other, so
yeah. So
like
it's gonna be a really dead recap next week. It's gonna be the same game from 2 points of view, and then I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I mean, we went over the trade deadline. That's the big news. And, I mean, let me pull something up real quick. I think maybe next week, that would be week 9. So that would be roughly about halfway through the week, right?
Yeah, we're right at the halfway point of the season.
Right. So, yeah, maybe after this week, so at the beginning of week 10, it might be a fun thing to go back at our NFC power rankings and AFC power rankings and compare to where the standings are right now, because I know there's a couple.
Basically, yeah. Let's shit on me and Buzz for actually thinking that Broncos country was gonna ride.
Hey, listen, they're still riding. They got
they're on a bye week this week, aren't they?
Yeah. So they can't lose.
Well, they can if Russell Wilson has another Subway commercial.
They can if Russell starts doing high knees on the plane and causes turbulence and it crashes.
Maybe. I don't know.
Hey, one last fun stat. I was gonna bring this out during picks, but it didn't really come up. Who has the worst record through their first 25 quarterback starts in history?
Like 25 different quarterbacks?
No, I think
your first 25 games as a quarterback.
Oh, what
Who
team?
has the worst? Well, if I say the team, it'll give it away.
No. I mean, like, are you asking what team or what quarterback?
What
player?
Oh, okay. Well, are they currently playing in the NFL right now?
I would imagine so.
I feel like saying that would also give it away.
Not really. I mean, I could just say like fucking Gabe Thunkett, and he played in the 38 fucking Fudge Packer Union team. I don't know, man.
Is it Brett Favre?
It is not Brett Favre.
Oh. 25 starts. Jones.
No. I can't imagine Jones was much better in his first 25. But
you know
no.
what? Tannehill?
No.
No. Because Tannehill played just good enough.
Not for Miami.
Looks like you're gonna have to evaluate me for another year.
No, I feel like he didn't do all that great in Miami. He got better, obviously, when he ended up in Tennessee. Murray. No, he was okay. 25 starts. That's fucked. That's like 2 seasons.
All right. Do you guys want to know the answer?
Give me a couple of seconds here.
Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
What
Chat,
do you
feel free to play along.
What do you mean by like worst though? Like
I think
QBR?
Worst record.
Oh, record.
Yeah, we're going by wins losses.
I thought I said that.
You might have. I may have just assumed it.
Yeah, I might have not heard. Brissett.
Nope.
No, it wouldn't be Brissett. And it wouldn't be Wentz either. It's not Derek Carr.
I don't think it's Carr either.
It's not Herbert.
It wouldn't be Goff.
No, and it wouldn't be Cousins either. It wouldn't be Rodgers because he started immediately and he was God.
I mean, would it be Geno Smith?
It is not Geno Smith.
No.
I don't know.
I think you guys are.
Geno's...
All I'll say is I think you guys are overthinking it a little too much.
I don't really see how.
I don't.
All right. Who is it?
Yeah, who?
Who is it? It's Trevor Lawrence.
Is he up to 25 games?
He is 5-20.
Really? I didn't even think that he was at 25 games yet. I didn't think we were at that point.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but I guess, it makes sense.
Last week was his 25th game, and he is 5 wins, 20 losses.
Can we talk about how bad that quarterback class is really looking for as hyped up as it was?
That class is
like
Trevor
Lawrence was supposed to be the next coming of Peyton Manning.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And so far, the best quarterback in that class is Mac Jones.
Yeah, and the second best is, Davis Mills?
The tank commander himself.
Yeah, it's... And the thing is that Jones, you're falling back on last year. Jones has not looked nearly as good this year.
He's also hurt.
Yes.
Recently.
There is that, but I think that, it's not looking too good for Jones. Justin Fields maybe has the most promising future ahead of him, but even then, that's not that much because the Bears' O-line is garbage. They just got Chase Claypool as their best wide receiver. I mean, he had 1.5 good games, and everyone, it's like there has to be sustained success. You can't. At the end of their rookie year, the 2018 class, the Darnold class, the Baker class, Darnold in those last 3 games looked really good. Last 3-4 games, one of which we went to.
The Texan game.
Yeah, the Texans game, the Green Bay game. Those were 2 of his best starts ever. Those were starts where it's okay, he might actually be the one. He might be the franchise quarterback. And look where he is now. And, Baker pulled the Browns out of mediocrity. Well, not mediocrity. He pulled them out of the basement into mediocrity, I should say. Rosen was just there. Josh Allen, everyone was everyone was still on the is Josh Allen good, is he not good kind of fence. And look at where they are now. Josh Allen's the best quarterback out of that class, and Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield are both on the Panthers, not doing anything. Rosen is, I don't even know where he is right now. And who is the other quarterback in that draft class?
Lamar.
Well, yeah, okay. I forget that because Lamar was like 32. I always forget that.
Yeah, he was last.
Lamar probably is like the second best, but from where people were picked, I mean, the first two, like Baker, Darnold, they're not anywhere near where they were drafted to be. Allen, doing great. Rosen, woof. And then Lamar's doing really good for being 32. I mean, he's just doing really good in general. I shouldn't say like for 32, but I mean, it feels like that's what happens with these quarterback draft classes. They get overhyped. Everyone starts saying like, oh, this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy, and then they get drafted, and the ones that go at the top are the ones that end up sucking, and the ones that go in like the middle to the bottom are the ones that usually end up panning out. Like when Mahomes was picked, he was traded up for, but I believe he was taken in the middle. Allen was taken in the middle. Like, not top 5. Like they're going to teams with actual plans. Whereas Lawrence, good Lord, I feel so bad. He got drafted to a fucking Urban Meyer-led team. Like, oof. Like, that's rough. And then they had to fire Urban.
They had to.
I mean, wouldn't you?
The funny thing is, in my opinion, if it weren't for Urban Meyer, we would talk so much more about how bad of a coach Matt Rule was. Like, I feel like Urban Meyer really took a lot of the media attention away from Matt Rule last year.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the Panthers weren't gonna, like, financially speaking, I think they were too invested in Rule as a coach. Which it's crazy that the fact that both the Jets and the Giants were looking at him at one point.
Yeah, and remember that I was like upset that we didn't get him. I wanted him over Joe Judge.
Yeah, I wanted him over who shall not be named. So, I mean, but like our options that offseason were Mike McCarthy, Matt Rule, and Dark Horse. Not be named. And Dark Horse, yeah, Mr. Gase. Like,
damn it. You got so close to not saying it.
I said half of it. So shut up.
Yeah, but you gave him Mr. like you're giving him respect.
He was a victim of Gase, just like me.
I created Adam Gase.
I mean, the last thing we can kind of mention, because it's not really mentioned, Sunday Night Football game is Tennessee at Kansas City.
It's going to be a good one.
I don't know if it's going to be a good one. Like, Kansas City, I feel like is just going to win that one. Like, it's not even close. I mean, the record suggested that it's supposed to be close, but I'd be really surprised if Tennessee somehow beats Kansas City.
I think Tennessee will at least keep it close. I think that their run game is just that good. I mean, the Chiefs. That's I think the main question is: are you still mad about the Bills game?
In a year of fucking chaos, I can see the Titans winning.
Yeah, that's the thing. We live in an age of
we live in crazy times.
Yeah, we live in crazy times. There's a lot of parity in the NFL right now. The Commanders are 4-4. It's raining cats and dogs. Like
the NFC Beast is easily the best division in the game,
followed by probably the AFC East. Like, I mean, the AFC East is the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Patriots. The Patriots are still 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, It's kind of crazy. And then you have the NFC South, which, whew,
Ooh.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not think that one was going to be as bad as it actually was.
AFC South is pretty rough too. It's so disgusting that the fucking Titans are like, they don't need to worry at all, ever. They're like, just literally, they just have to win 1 or 2 games against their division opponents and they're fine. You know, and like AFC East, we have combined, let's see, 11, 16. We have 20 wins in the division, or in that division, yeah.
Mm.
The AFC South has 11, and the Titans have 5 of them. Like, what the fuck? and like, also, I was looking at the AFC West going like, okay, thankfully, you know, Chargers are looking good this year. Vegas looks a little bit better too because they picked up Adams. You know, I'm like, oh boy, Raiders are gonna pop off a little bit, and then Denver Broncos got a supposedly good quarterback, and I'm like, all right, more competition for the Chiefs. Having, you know, they're gonna lose a couple in their division, and who knows how that's gonna go. Fucking nope. Their division still kind of fucking sucks. So here we are. Bills have the best record in the AFC at the moment. Anything can happen. I will say that it's pretty cool too, looking at the standings for the AFC. It's Bills, Titans, Kansas City, Baltimore, Jets, Miami.
Yeah.
We have won against the Titans, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and hopefully soon the Jets. So like, we're first. But we also have tiebreakers over the next 3 or 4 teams. That's pretty gnarly.
Mm.
What else we got? Anything?
I think I'm good.
I think I'm good too. We've been
I'm
going
good.
for an hour and a half right on the button, so I think it's a good spot to finish up. Week 8 is over. We'll see everybody for week 9.
Later.